This is a little bit, I guess, unplanned. I didn't bring my camera up with me that I usually do my videos with, but and I was just planning on flying around today. But I had a thought, and I figured I'd share it real quick. I was just on my way to a destination. I'm flying to a friend's house. I'm going to fly over there for a little bit. But I got to thinking about how that when I was on the ground, I don't know how humid it was. I'm here in Tennessee, and it was pretty hot. It's pretty humid today, and I'd guess that it was probably 80-something with a mid-80s heat index today, even when I took off on the ground. But I'm about 2,000-ish feet up in the air right now, and you can see I've got a jacket on. And not only do I have a jacket on, but I've got a long sleeve shirt on too. When I was on the ground, I was burning up. I was pretty hot. I was sweating. The motor was heavy. I was definitely ready to get up in the air. And the reason that I put myself through that discomfort and prepared myself with a jacket that very arguably I did not need was because I had a little bit of insight to know when I got up in the air it was going to be a little bit colder. I've got all the wind chill factor of all this wind blowing in my face, about 25 miles an hour of it. It's also cooler air once you get up in the air. As you gain altitude, your air temperature drops. And so I knew, and I don't claim to have a whole lot of experience in paramotoring. I'm still learning a lot each and every flight. But I do know that it's a little chillier up here than it is on the ground. And you might be wondering where in the world I'm going with all this. It just seems like a random story. But I got to thinking about how that, like I said, I prepared myself for this even though I did not need it whatsoever on the ground. I knew once I got in the air and once I got some altitude, things would change and I would need what was on the ground that was making me uncomfortable. Now is a comfort to me. And I got to thinking about how that sometimes God does that in our lives. Sometimes God begins to equip us with things, and oftentimes when He's equipping us and when He's preparing us and when He's designing us for His purpose, it puts us through difficulties. It puts us through discomfort. It puts us through, just like when I was on the ground, you know, it was not comfortable for me to wear this jacket. But now, you know, I'm glad that I've got it. And you know, it's the same way with God. Sometimes we're going through something and we don't understand why. We look around and we don't understand why God is trying to equip us with something, whether it be patience or temperance or, you know, any of the fruit of the Spirit there or just anything that would be godly. And maybe we don't understand why we need that. Of course, yeah, sure, it's good to have those things. But sometimes maybe it seems like, you know, do I really need more patience? Do I really need more temperance, you know? And I'd say we all, yes, could use more, but do you need more? You know, sometimes is, I guess, kind of where our mind takes us. But I was just blessed this afternoon thinking that God has enough foresight, God has enough knowledge that He knows what we have need of even before we do. So, you know, just like, you know, when I was getting ready to take off, I went ahead and I prepared myself for this. Sometimes God prepares us for stuff and prepares us for things that we have no idea that we have need of, because in the moment, on the ground, we don't necessarily need it. But it might just be in a few minutes. You know, it was just within a matter of maybe 2 minutes that I was from the ground to a couple thousand feet up in the air. So life can change very quickly, and life can take us places that we didn't know that we would be going very quickly. But you know, just take encouragement in knowing that God knows what He's doing, and if we recognize that God is trying to prepare us, or if God is doing this or doing that in our life, but we don't really understand why because maybe we don't find it needful, just take some encouragement that God knows best and God see what lies ahead of us in our life. Just like with Joseph, God was preparing Joseph for something, you know, but it took Joseph having to go through a dungeon to get there. It took Joseph having to go through years of being a servant, of being a slave, to get prepared for what God had for him. My guess is when he entered Egypt, he did not know their language. He probably did not know their culture. He did not know their ways. But it was God's plan to preserve his chosen people through Egypt, and for that to take place, Joseph had to be put in a place of power. But for that to take place, Joseph had to be prepared for the job, had to be prepared for the task. So just take encouragement this afternoon that God knows what he's doing, and if he's preparing us for something, if we see that he's taking us somewhere, even if we don't understand why right now, even if we don't maybe understand all of what's going on, and maybe it's even causing us a little bit of discomfort, seemingly unnecessarily, just take encouragement that God knows what he's doing, and no doubt God is preparing you for something that lies ahead. So I hope that encourages you, just kind of a little mini thought. I'm nearing my destination here, but I just thought I would record that on the way. I hope it encouraged you. It encouraged me this afternoon. May God bless you. Until next time, Paramotor Preacher out.